This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a single linear path through space and time with little deviation, and I've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, a relatively new action comedy from directors Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, also known as Daniels. It follows Evelyn, a Chinese immigrant running a laundromat that's being audited amidst several other familial issues, both with her husband Waymond and their daughter Joy. When at the IRS for an audit meeting, Waymond is possessed by an alternate version of himself, informing Evelyn how she is a key figure to saving the multiverse. While the Evelyn from his universe discovered how to jump between other universes, further experimentation on that universe's version of joy led to an omniversal madness, leaving their daughter able to jump between and manipulate universes, and, having seen everything, coming to conclude that nothing matters. As Evelyn hops between universes, experiencing different timelines and sharing in their strengths, her own mind begins to have trouble handling all this information, and even she becomes susceptible to the nihilism, which can and does have reverberating effects across the multiverse. I should probably figure out how to cut that down. This story is pretty well packed with important information, never once stopping itself to offer something that doesn't intersect with the main storyline at all. Almost every element, from simple jokes and sight gags to more intricate concepts and themes, tie neatly together with an eventual payoff for each, creating a neat cohesion that keeps everything moving forward with an excellent sense of pacing and energy. This is especially impressive given how much the movie relies on absurdity in its comedy and situations. It actually makes it a bit interesting when these one-off bits do end up having a greater role within the greater themes being explored, ultimately coming around to an overall idea of the connections between everything, or at least between many things that we wouldn't expect. The film's greater thematic conflict is certainly that between whether or not the notion that nothing matters in the universe or multiverse is an invitation for destruction or opportunity, one which ends up cutting more personally into the hearts of the characters. Speaking of which, the cast is especially impressive in their roles, most of all Michelle Yeoh and Ke Kwan as Evelyn and Waymond, respectively. Kwan's appearances as multiple versions of himself, each with distinct mannerisms and presences, are all pulled off with a great ease, while Yeoh's different selves inversely find a sort of singularity among each other that make them all feel like a single person, which is a facet that comes into play later, but I won't spoil anything. Anyways, the two are further contrasted by Stephanie Sue as Joy, or the other universe's version of her, not only in how these two are extremely different people entirely, more or less inhabiting the same body, but also how their own issues are still intrinsically linked through a more emotional core. The three family members are effectively great examples of how one single person might persist across the multiverse, if that makes sense. The movie makes it all make sense anyways. The technical aspects, visual style, and overall production of the film are pretty much what pulls all of these themes, the greater story, and its various characters together into a neat and tidy package. I might be putting it lightly though, since there's a hell of a lot of stylism going on, especially when breaking away from the primary timeline and going into other universes. Here, the movie steps away from an established visual presentation of the film through this universe, and turns everything else on its head, giving these other worlds their own unique colors and framings, almost as if they were entirely different movies. It's not only helpful in keeping these worlds separated for viewers without overloading them, but it also works in a way to show homage to other films and filmmakers. I would say that the greater visual style comes through more expressively in editing and its many match cuts, visually linking the universes with a physical flow between shots, not to mention a number of actions between characters that more literally link everything together. The film's other uses of color and lighting, and especially its overall use of music and sound, seem to be in place to help accentuate the shifting of the universes, as if trying to convey what the characters are feeling or experiencing physically through another means that the audience can understand. I'm just guessing, though. I will say that it's very loud and at times overwhelming, but also cinematic, and in its own ways not only cementing this universe and its working mechanics, but reminding the audience that movies can make up their own rules for how to tell a story. Making things up as you go along seems to be one of the lessons of the film anyways, and coupled with its many other themes and ideas, it almost seems impossible for a movie like this to make any logical sense. And yet, it still does, thanks most of all to its positive outlook towards its emotional and humanistic center, which is a fancy way of saying that its issues can equally affect both a multiverse of people and things and a small local family of three, and in a way suggesting that the choices we make for ourselves can have an effect on the greater world around us. Well, something like that anyways. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Daniel Kwan, Daniel Scheinert, 2022. 4.5 stars. I definitely recommend watching it for yourself. That's it for this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Man, I said a lot about this movie. I don't even think I said everything about it that I could. I really should start editing these reviews down before I record the video.